While many people consider the open world to be the key difference between Ocarina of Time and Breath of the Wild, I think the way items are designed is responsible for the difference in game feel. As many of us might remember from our childhood, the adventure of Ocarina of Time is a pretty straightforward one. There's a set of dungeons you have to complete, and in order to be able to do so, you need items that grant you the specific power the dungeon asks of you. For instance, before completing the forest temple, you need the hookshot, which allows you to traverse aerial distances that are farther than you could normally jump. And once you get the item, you have access to its correlated mechanic. Get a bow, now you can shoot arrows. Get a Zora tunic, and now you can breathe underwater. And the game never takes that away from you. And thus your arsenal grows until you can interact with everything in the game once you have the items, resulting in a gradually growing sense of freedom. Breath of the Wild is quite the opposite in that regard, because everything breaks. Quickly. All your weapons break and disappear after 10 or 20 uses, leaving you vulnerable if you have not brought backup. Being able to swing your sword, shoot your bow or block attacks with your shield is no longer something you can do after acquiring them, but rather maintaining a steady flow of said item is necessary, making those mechanics conditional. And the concept of conditional mechanics is present in Breath of the Wild's environmental design as well. When it rains, you cannot climb. When there's a thunderstorm, you can't use your metal sword. When there's wind, you might glide to your destination more difficultly as you need more stamina to counteract the wind. It is that design of conditional mechanics that affects the gameplay in a huge way. The makers of Breath of the Wild surely did this on purpose in order to focus on the survival aspect of our protagonist's journey, as you have to be on the lookout for resources and plan ahead. But progression is altered. Since you have access to all resources and mechanics early but conditionally, I as the player don't feel a huge sense of progress. The conditionality also results in a feeling that everything my character can do is only borrowed. Nothing is intrinsically mine. Setting Ocarina of Time and Breath of the Wild side by side lets you see how the sensation of progress has been exchanged for an initial sense of freedom, solely from changing their approach to items. Mind you, this does not even touch on the narrative or the open world setting, yet is so constitutive for how the game is received. And since I've touched on it, survival games have been doing this for years. Finding when and when not to deny the player of some of the game's mechanics is all that genre is about. Breath of the Wild experimented with it and invoked the feelings of a semi-survival experience, making it more about survival than it is about role-playing in my opinion, only through its items.